Inspires Me, a show about wellness, amazing people, and information to inspire you to take charge of your life and your health. Today what I wanted to talk about is a concept around the losing and or gaining of weight as good or bad. Now this stemmed from a comment that was made to me just recently from somebody I know who said, "Oh, you're losing weight again," sort of a question mark there. And this has come up before in the past since I've lost all the weight. And I've often joked, I can remember early on when I first got down to my lowest weight after my transformation, and people were telling me, "Oh, Mike, don't get too skinny." I used to get frustrated about that because in my mind I was kind of like, well, where the heck were you when I was 400 pounds and not telling me to not get too fat? Well, the interesting thing now, because I have done what I did and lost half my body weight, the eyes are on me. And at least that's how it feels sometimes. Because when I do gain or lose weight, and because I'm in the public eye about my health, people do notice. And that's fine. I understand that part of it is setting as a role model. People are looking to me to understand what I did in order to figure out what they're wanting to do. And in some cases, people just, are curious because, oh my gosh, you're losing weight again? And that's been said. Well, truthfully, just talking about this specific situation, over the wintertime, I did allow myself, and actually on purpose, went ahead and allowed myself to gain weight. And part of it was I knew I was going to be in a situation around a lot of family events and around foods that I typically like that aren't necessarily the best for maintaining, I'm air quoting, weight, and not necessarily the best for my health. But I knew that if I tried to fight against it and resist, it would make it that much harder. And it also makes the family times a little less comfortable when you're constantly having to say no, and I can't eat this, and what is your special diet? So I decided to relax. Now this is not to say I've relaxed 100%. I did keep up overall trying to eat mostly plant-based foods while I was away on vacation. But on the other hand, there were a lot of, during Christmas time, a lot of cookies and delicious things that I don't normally eat. And I went ahead and ate them. And I liked them. And I have no regrets. And I did gain some fat. And that was fine. Immediately when I came back, within about a week or two, going back to my normal eating pattern, I lost, I think, 10 pounds within the first week. It was kind of funny. And I've been since trying to lean down towards the warmer weather. And this is something I've kind of learned over the past few years. I used to try to be really, really strict year-round, but I've noticed that during the winter months, my body wants to put on a little more layers of fat. And during the summer months, I find it easier to get leaner. And so I'm kind of going with that over time. But it did make me wonder, because it's interesting, when somebody says to me, in this case, it was almost, and I may be reading into it, "Oh, you're losing weight again." Like, why? Like it's a negative thing. And it just, not that I took it personal, but I thought it was kind of interesting because I've had people say to me, "Oh, when they find out that I've lost over 200 pounds, they'll say, 'Congratulations,' and granted, doing something like that is an amazing thing, and I'm sure worth congratulating. Sometimes I feel like, though, it's like, well, I should have never been that big in the first place. So, what's there to congratulate me for? I guess for saving my own life, right? And accomplishing such a feat on my own, which is in itself pretty amazing. But certainly if I have anorexia and I'm losing weight, you're probably not going to want to congratulate me for that if I continue to lose weight and I become underweight. Well, truth of the matter is I do struggle with an eating disorder, and I've been open about it. And there are times, especially folks like me, and I even just read about Richard Simmons recently when he started to lose weight. You do end up sometimes with a condition like anorexia where you continue to try to lose weight, either pushing yourself or diet pills, water pills, whatever, all kinds of things, starvation. And I'll tell you, at certain parts, at times of my life, I had done those things because when you have an unhealthy relationship with food, you tend to use it for the wrong reasons and not to nourish your body. Now, over the past couple years, since I've been exploring and my eating pattern and trying to learn about, healthier eating overall, as opposed to just worrying about the scale, I've gotten a lot better than where I was, and I feel a lot more comfortable. For example, this weekend, I went to a birthday party, and I ate. And it was funny. I got down, we ate a whole bunch of appetizers, and I went to sit down to eat the meal, and then at that point, I was stuffed, and I was surprised. I was like, wow, I'm actually feeling full. And I didn't do what I had done in the past, which was to stuff myself till I was sick, and I'm glad I didn't. But it's interesting, this whole concept of losing weight and gaining weight is seen as sort of like a good or bad thing. In our society, if you gain too much weight, that's seen negatively, right? And it's certainly the poor habits can lead to poor health, and gaining weight can be one of the symptoms of poor eating habits. And I want to be clear on that, okay? And if you guys listen to my interview with Dr. Tom Rafai, we talked about that fat on your body isn't necessarily what leads you to have the poor health, because there are people who can eat and eat and eat and don't show it on their bodies outside, right? They don't get that visceral fat along the stomach and other areas of their body like people like I do, who very easily just breathe in the scent of food and I gain weight. But that doesn't mean that those people are healthy. And so the mere fact that they can go and just gorge themselves, but then later could end up with other similar health problems, maybe not the fat around the midsection, it's not quite as seen as bad because you can't outwardly see their results of their poor eating habits from visible. Somebody like me, I guess I wear it on my sleeve or on my stomach, so to speak, when I do. Conversely, somebody like me can starve myself and get down to, quote, a normal weight, but I'm not doing healthy things to get there. So although I may lose weight, much as I did towards the end of my journey, it may not be the healthiest way. And there were a few times I had done that, and other times through my journeys I've done that. And again, as I've said, it's one where I've been learning along the way of what the best pattern for me is to eat. Notice I'm not saying diet, because I don't want to misguide people into thinking what I'm doing here is a diet. Most people kind of see that this whole lifestyle that I live is just as a short-term thing. This is something for life. And maintaining my weight is a journey, and it's for life. And I've decided that I'm going to allow myself during the winter months to relax a little more in terms of, the way I eat, and if I want to, because during the holidays, we are around those things that maybe aren't necessarily as best for our health, but it's not going to kill us to have those things in moderation. Again, you've heard me use the percentage. 80% is what I normally strive for. Maybe during the winter, maybe during those Christmas holiday, it was more down to about 50%, 60% eating healthy. Nonetheless, with the amount of work that I do in keeping healthy I'm not worried about that. And if you guys have ever seen or heard my speech that I've done on health as an investment in your future, you'll understand when I talk about that you want to be putting more into your health, into that savings account, than when you're withdrawing, and withdrawing being doing things that may not always be greatest for your health, like having a lot of cookies or skipping your workouts or whatever. And there are times it's okay. And then when we're sick, sometimes too, we have to withdraw from that health savings account, so to speak. But in the end, as long as we're putting more in than taking out, it's good. I digress. The concept of weight, I caution folks, when you think about it, it's a slippery slope. And take it from me, the guy who's lost a lot of weight and been maintaining, going on my 5th year now, the scale can be a tricky thing. And over the past few weeks, because of that comment and my curiosity, I have been weighing myself and watching. And it's funny, I weighed myself on Saturday before I went to the event, and I was at one level. And I'm not telling, because I'm not that I'm hiding it. Oh, what the heck. I was 219, and then I weighed myself this morning. I was 223. Now, there's no way I ate 4 pounds of food in that amount of time. Okay. In fact, I think I weighed myself the next day too, and I had gone up like 2 pounds, and that's not possible. So what happened really? There's a lot of factors. There could be fluid retention because of inflammation from eating these types of foods. There could be a lot of different things. Right? Most likely fluid retention. But I did not gain that much in fat in that amount of time. And I would imagine I will check my weight again in a few days just for the heck of it to see. But I'll be honest with you, my tolerance for watching the scale is low, because I've learned over the past few years it's not an accurate measurement of health, and there are a lot of factors that can influence it day to day, even within a day itself. You could go to the bathroom, right? And it could change it. That's why they say when you weigh yourself in the morning and weigh yourself after you've voided, so that you're always consistent. And do it naked too, if you can. Always try to make sure you're always in the same circumstance. But I would tell you, don't worry about those things. What I tell people, and you're going to consistently hear me say, focus on your health habits. Make sure you're doing all you can every day, not pushing yourself to the limit, but just make sure you're doing your base minimum of what you should be doing. If it's a walk, if it's you're getting your exercise, eating your vegetables, getting your lean proteins and plenty of water and good fluids, trying to cut back on sugar and those things, you'll be in good shape. You'll be fine, and not worrying so much about what that stinking little dial says on that scale. All right. Well, that's kind of my thought on these things. I'm happy to hear from any of you if you guys got some thoughts around the whole concept of losing weight as good or bad, because I'm curious what you think. It's interesting. I guess if I was anorexic and underweight and I gained weight, then that's seen as good, right? But let's not lose sight of it. It's not really the weight itself, it's your health. So if you're anorexic and you've got all these problems, health problems, due to the way you're not eating, I guess, and not getting in nutrients, then what's really going on is that you're saving your life by getting better nutrients. And with that, you put on more body weight, right? And so just be careful of it. It's interesting. I'm trying to separate myself from the idea that weight and body fat itself are what equals health. And I'm trying to challenge that notion with people so that we don't get too focused on that, because you can be fat and healthy, and you can be thin or normal sized and unhealthy. Always remember that. And in terms of, being good or bad, I guess that just depends on one thing. Are you healthy, and are you happy? Well, those are my thoughts for today. I hope they're helpful. Hope you're doing well. Stay awesome.